motive or likes or dislikes. That's why their careers are pure enough not to admit any personal karma. Nightmare is only for those who have a possibility of getting a dream. But in the same way, personal karma and the effects are only for the human beings who are capable of doing things for certain motives. And when you are once immediately awakened into your real consciousness from your logic of your relationships with your environment, there is no consequence or there is no remaining karma at all. Suppose you promise that you pay $50,000 to a friend in your dream. What happens if you wake up before you pay it to him? The same thing happens here also to your remaining karma, because it is only our conditioning. Am I clear about it? Of course, there are many fantastic views about personal karma. Many people teach that it is infallible and it is a curse which lives forever and we have to die in it and all that. It's not true. Scriptures teach us that karma is not infallible, but the results of the karma done are infallible. After I have thrown this into the air, it should be obstructed or resisted, and the force should be met with equal and opposite force. After I have thrown this, if I say, I don't want to throw it, impulse to throw it, there is no result. So, for the karma already done, there are some results awaiting to take place in the future upon us. For them, we have nothing to say, we have to endure and accept with pleasure. But the future karma can be immediately stopped by the grace of the Guru within a split second. And this is what the authoritative books teach us. Might and explain a little more. I am not able to follow you. Mind of nature. Not exactly divine, but some steps below the divine. See, I will give you an example. I have given an example yesterday. A vessel in a tub of water. There is water in the tub. There is vessel in the water in the tub. And there is water in the vessel also. And the tub is in the bathroom of a boat. A boat has a living room and a bathroom. In the bathroom there is a tub. In the tub there is water. And in the water there is the vessel. In the vessel automatically there is water. And the boat is in the river. The boat is going in a canal. And the water comes into the canal from the river. And it is true that this water belongs to the river, because it is taken from the canal. And the canal comes from the river. In such a way, you can call the mind of nature divine mind. But in fact, you should call a mind like the river by the name divine mind, which comes down as nature and its mind, upon which the ship of the biological kingdom is floating, and this contains the nature of the biological kingdom, which is part of the nature. In this there is an apartment in the biological kingdom which we call the human kingdom. And we have what is called the human nature, part of the biological nature. And we have our own apartment called our individual consciousness, our own individual nature of behavior, which is part of human behavior. So, the nature has come down through many steps to us. At every step there is a sheet of mind, which is broader and broader as you approach the background and retrace the path. You can call the space mind divine mind, and you should call the mind of the space occupied by our solar system by the name solar mind. And the planet Earth is occupying some space, the mind of which can be called the planetary mind of this Earth. In the same way, the vessel which we call our head has its own mind in it, which is only a part of the divine mind and the other layers of mind. Simply because the tumbler is in space, automatically space is in the tumbler also. So also, simply because our head is in space, where space mind exists, for the same reason there is mind in our head also. It is time to leave this hall according to the law of karma of splitting. So we'll try to know something about education first. According to the real pioneers who taught us what education is, and about how the educational centers worked in the past, how they are working in the present, and how they are going to work in the future. And also something about the plan of the masters of wisdom that they have ready before them. They have already put before us 1 century ago, and the methods they observe when they try to externalize the plan. The word education is used in many ways nowadays. In India, we have the following terms as synonyms carrying the same meaning. In India, they use so many terms as synonyms. They say, my boy is having his education in this school. One says, my boy is conducting his studies in this school. And he says, my boy is reading in this school. My boy is receiving his teaching in this school. My boy is learning his studies in this school. My boy is undergoing his courses in the university. Yes. But in fact, the word education stands away and apart all the other terms. There are two different ways of understanding what education is. Since many centuries, there are teachers who belong to the two different schools, and parents who treat their children according to the two different schools. And two categories of children, one receiving from the parents of the first category and the others receiving from the parents of the second category. We'll see how it differs. They say, my boy is studying medicine or engineering, chemistry, any one of the sciences, or arts, or what they call humanities. This is the one school of thought. The student of medicine is given information in the name of education, and the information that is available up to date will be poured into the head of the student through the years with the help of two fine funnels, which we call the voices of the professors. The result is a student of medicine 10 years ago was fortunate enough to have less number of facts and less quantity of information than the student who is receiving in 1982. If you take a student of medicine in 1992, there will be at least 10,000 books more printed and published, and 10 new branches of medicinal science which will be expected of the student. Unless the student receives that part of the information also along with the previous part, he is not recognized as a student having a degree or diploma in medicine. Same thing with the other branches also. With the due respect to the scientists of education of the present day, on the academic lines and the university lines, the word education is used as a synonym for information. And common sense tells us that the student can get the information by himself and for himself when we make the information available to him easily. The only thing we have to do is to make a good library available to the student, along with a person who directs him properly into his own books. This part includes a portion of real education. So to say, good libraries well arranged according to the branches of learning, and also good arrangement through radio, TV and VD will provide the student better than enforcing information in the classes by the professors to the student. And luckily, this change has started, and gradually it is taking place. Especially during the last 20 years, many of the big institutions began to believe in providing the library and facilities to the students than to pour information into the ears of the student. That is one thing. And another thing is what we call discipline. In the past, we had many fantastic ideas about discipline, so that the child had to live in constant fear of the parent, and the student had to live in a constant care and fear of the teacher. It resulted in mutilating the aura of the student, and the capacity to receive and respond is made less and less. And after the student has finished his education, he is found only a reflecting machine and not a shining gem. Instead of a source of illumination, the student was manufactured as a mirror, and that was due to the fantastic ideas about discipline. Discipline was considered to be physical and manual, and it was rather veterinary in its nature. And gradually the concept of discipline is changed during the past 30 years. And the result is we have an equally fantastic idea of discipline, which has results that are worse still. Now we began to believe in the independence of the student. Before we are mature to know what independence is. As a result, the immature idea of independence led us into lawlessness in the name of independence. Lawlessness is different from independence. The first being the negative activity of allowing one to expand, while the second one, discipline, is the positive activity of allowing the boy to expand. So we have two fantastic ideas about discipline. One, the false idea or the physical idea of discipline in the past. That is to enforce the child into the methods required by us. And the other is allowing the boy to expand like a stream of water without the two banks for a river. The result is the total wastage of the water, which we call life. So we expect a third concept which may be a bit nearer to practicality and truth. If we expect discipline as an independent entity, it is thoroughly unpsychological and negative in its value. Because if you want to keep your boy under discipline without having a plan for him, so that you may think that you apply the boy to a plan after he is disciplined, it amounts to the act of killing the boy intellectually. It is as good as asking a child not to breathe in oxygen until the chemistry of oxygen is taught to the child, because there will be no necessity for the boy to breathe afterwards. He will not be there. The natural course is to allow the boy to respire oxygen, and in course of time know what oxygen is and how it is useful. First, let him enjoy the usefulness of what he does, and then let him learn about the usefulness of what he does. We are badly in need of such a method of education, which in fact we are not at all having in any institution yet. The present universities of any country, including the most advanced nations and countries, do not show the required degree of evolution enough to educate the future children in the required direction. They educate the boy in every subject except himself. That is, we start learning and teaching alphabet from back and proceed backwards. We learn the last syllable alphabet first, and we try to learn up to A. We teach medicine, we teach chemistry, we teach physics, we teach space science, and we teach psychology also. Just the nearest, the required spot of education. But yet, we are not evolved enough to know that we have to educate about ourselves and educate the student about himself, his own mechanism.